Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. Today's video are some fall DIYs that I think you're really gonna love, and a big thank you to Helix for sponsoring today's video. Let's go ahead and get started. For this first one, I'm gonna use this Halloween pail. Now I'm gonna remove the handles and put some tape on the other side. I am gonna leave all of the original links to these videos and the dates in the description. I'm gonna add a little bit of spackle just to cover that up. And then we are going to wait for it to dry, sand it a bit, and paint it. This is my paint of choice. I absolutely love this color. You can spray paint it as well. I really love Rust-Oleum's, I think it's Warm Caramel, which is very similar to this, but a little bit more muted. I'm grabbing a Dollar Tree pumpkin and I'm smushing it on top just to make an outline, and I'm going to cut that off. This was inspired by some floral that I saw at Starbucks when I initially made this video. I believe this was in 2020. Do not drag your blade, just keep piercing it, or you're gonna end up with styrofoam everywhere. Now I'm going to remove the top and remove that little stem. I'm not a fan of the original stems. If you've seen my videos for a while, you know that I always create custom clay ones, and I will link all of those videos below as well. I went ahead and painted it to match and then added a custom stem. Again, those links will be in the description to all of those custom pumpkins, and I will probably make you some more. So I added some floral. These are some of the Dollar Tree flowers that I added, as well as others, and boom, look how beautiful this looks. Now for the next one, you can either get some new pumpkins from Dollar Tree. I am using old ones that had happened to get all dingy. I removed the stem, and then I got some socks from Dollar Tree. I'll leave the original link for this video as well, as this was filmed back in 2020, I believe. Now make sure that you are aligning your pumpkin where those vertical lines are going into the grooves of your pumpkin. Cut off the top, and then with a pen or anything thin, start putting in the excess fabric. You can glue it down if you want, but I just glued down the bottom to avoid a big bulky mess. So at the bottom, where no one's gonna see it, that's where I used my stick and sealed it shut. But you can also do the same method and just push all of the fabric in. Now push the original stem into the top. Here's another one that I painted gold, and look how upgraded and beautiful they look, and you upcycled a broken pumpkin. A big thank you to today's sponsor, Helix Sleep. If you don't know what Helix Sleep is, they make premium mattresses and beddings that are customized specifically for you, and it's delivered straight to your door. What's really cool is that they have a personalized quiz which asks you questions like your age, your height, your weight. I personally sleep on my back and toss and turn, and I like firm mattresses. It also asks what my husband, because obviously I'm sharing a bed with him, is into, and it matches you to a mattress that would fit both of your needs or your own needs if you're solo. We got matched to the Dusk Luxe, and let me tell you, I've had it for a bit now, and it is really comfortable. Alex loves it as well, and we're both really hot sleepers, so it was really nice that it stayed cool all night. They offer 100-night sleep trial, 10-year warranty, tons of financing options, and flexible payment plans. So if you want to try it out, be sure to click the link in my description for up to $200 off, and you get 2 free pillows. Right now, Dollar Tree still has some summer stuff up, so grab yourself a sign. When I created this back in 2021, I believe, I was duping a Hobby Lobby sign, not entirely sure, but I'm gonna go ahead and paint it with chalk paint, both front and back. Now, when you paint this, make sure that you are sanding the front with all of the glitter, or else that texture will come through. Now for the front, once it is fully dry, you can take some chalk and freehand if you feel comfortable, or you can use some vinyl. It's up to you. What's good about chalk is that you can wipe it off and put a new message every day. You can also just put some floral up top or flip it over. I did use some vinyl because I believe this was a Hobby Lobby dupe that I was creating. So that big empty space up top, I did cover it up with some Dollar Tree floral. I really love these picks. They're very pretty and neutral. I cut off the bottom, and then I hot glued 2 in place. I think this makes all the difference. And again, the original video will be linked below. I topped it off with a little bow up top using Dollar Tree ribbon, and I love the turnout. Grab yourself a Dollar Tree pumpkin. Now they do make white Dollar Tree pumpkins now, but back when I filmed this they didn't. So I went ahead and painted it white just so it wouldn't show through, and I got one of these funky looking scarves from Dollar Tree. I love the patterns that they put out, and I'm just going to cut it up because this is an infinity scarf, and I am essentially going to do the same thing that I did with my sock pumpkins. So you see how there's a hole up top? I'm just going to start to feed that through and make sure that the fabric is nice and tight. For any pieces that are kind of hanging off, I do secure them to the pumpkin using hot glue at the bottom, and then I just keep putting the fabric on the inside. I cut another piece because since this is a narrow piece of fabric, it wasn't enough, and then I shoved the rest up top, cutting off the excess and hot gluing it into place. To define the grooves in the pumpkin, I used some twine, but you can use yarn or whatever else you'd like. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to push that into that hole and then work my way around. You can use hot glue to secure it if it's not staying in place, but this does help with defining. I do regret not using maybe like a navy blue or something that would stick out a little bit more, or even a gold, but if I were to do this all over again, that would probably be my choice. Now I'm adding a big dollop of hot glue to the top and adding one of my custom stems. Again, the video to the custom stems will be linked below. These really make all the difference, and bam. Every now and then Dollar Tree has these little shadow boxes. I grabbed this navy leaf paper from Michael's and I traced it out. Now, the shadow box that I'm using is not from Dollar Tree. This is from Walmart because it was from a mystery box challenge, but I do have some Dollar Tree ones. I made sure that it fit, and then I used some Dollar Tree Mod Podge and a foam sponge to secure it in place. Make sure that you don't add too much, but also you need to add enough for it to stick down. Now for the rest of the craft, you have two options. You can use a Dollar Tree ruler and just remove those little bits right there, or you can use large popsicle sticks. Now whichever one you use, keep in mind that one you can cut with scissors and the other one you at least would need a handsaw. Make your mark and cut it down. I just cut down one edge and then measured out the other because I wanted to make a little shelf. Now I'm going to slide this in and secure it with hot glue. You can also do Gorilla Glue, but I feel like hot glue just held it a little bit more instantly. You can also do a combination of both, and I went ahead and added a second one to the bottom. To adorn the top, I added some Dollar Tree picks, which I had cut up, and at first I really didn't like it, but when I was done and added my little pumpkins, I really loved it. Okay, so grab a Dollar Tree pool noodle and a hula hoop. The link to the original video, which was filmed back in 2020, will be linked below. Not the original that I'm creating now, that was back in 2021, but the first one that I made was this gorgeous beauty right there. You're going to take a pool noodle and slice it right down the middle, and then wedge your hula hoop into that. Now make sure you're securing your pool noodle with some tape. If you can find tape that matches, great. If not, then it's going to be covered up anyway. But depending on how large your hula hoop is, that'll depend on how many pool noodles you'll need. So I believe this is a medium sized or a small size, so I needed one and a little tiny piece to complete it. Secure everything with the tape, and now you can move on. I use these beautiful picks from Dollar Tree, and I am just going to cut the bottom and just stab it right in there. That is all I'm going to do, nothing crazy, and this will create the most gorgeous wreath. Now I am pushing these stems up so that it looks fuller, and I'm going all the way around. I didn't have enough, so you're going to see what I created at the bottom. Although if I were to do this again, I would do just all of these stems. Here I'm adding a different type of floral just to give it a pop of color, and these I'm going to take off individually to cover all of those yellows and oranges that are left over. Now, again, if I were to do this again, I would buy more of those picks, but I didn't have enough at the time. I'm using my side cutters to remove whatever's sticking out, and I'm working my way all the way around, and even then I did not have enough. I'm taking more of these little white things that are on the picks and making them more visible to give it more interest. So at this point, I ran out of picks and flowers, so I am just going to take some rope and some Dollar Tree pumpkins and just start adding pumpkins and stuff everywhere. My solution to this big old gap right there in the middle was to create like a little basket, almost like a little harvest basket. So I grabbed a Dollar Tree crate and added some foam to the inside and secured it right there. Again, if I were to do this again, I would probably just fill it with floral, but I really like how this turned out. It definitely made it look different. When I added my green foam, I added more pumpkins on the inside using toothpicks. I love this trick. I've been doing it for years. Instead of hot gluing these pumpkins down, I add toothpicks so that I can reuse them over and over and over again. And then I filled it up with more of those dusty flowers and added some loops to the side, and boom. For this next craft, you can use wood, you can use these Dollar Tree things, or you can use these stir sticks from a hardware store, or these Dollar Tree little crates. I'm going to use the crates and I'm going to glue them together and take a binder clip until it dries so that it's nice and straight. Now I'm using these pins from Dollar Tree and I'm just putting them into literally anything so that I can spray paint them evenly. This is just a piece of cardboard, and once it is dry, I'm going to take my little crate and drill some holes so that I can put this in. Now, because this is wood, it's hard to pierce them just, by hand. So that's why I use a drill. But if you do want to clip off the little bits and just glue them in place, that's also an option. Personally, I feel like this is a lot easier. Once this is clipped in place, I am going to attach them using hot glue and use these beautiful pumpkins. Now, when I first posted this last year, people kept asking, what do these combinations mean? Well, it's Jay, Alex, Aria, and Leah. My daughter wasn't born yet, but we knew we were going to name her Leah, or maybe she was already born. I'm not entirely sure. My time frame is not the best, but I added some floral just to cover up that seam, which was driving me crazy, and boom. Okay, so don't kill me, but those sock pumpkins I created, I am going to take them apart and I'm going to reuse this pumpkin over and over and over again. So I'm going to take that hole that I made, and honestly, I'm going to make it bigger. So I used a regular brush for this, and then I painted it my color of choice. Now I am going to take an additional pumpkin that's a little bit larger, but before that I am going to take some watered down brown paint and give this pumpkin some dimensions by just going into the grooves and tapping on this color. So I'm going to brush it on and then tap it into place. I'm going to do the same thing with another pumpkin. Now this is just a regular Dollar Tree pumpkin that I had painted white and removed the stem on. So I'm going to define it with that brown, and then this is really, really easy. I am just going to take that smaller pumpkin and hot glue it on top of the bigger one. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I am going to put one of these candlesticks in there. It is not real. And then I'm going to put it on top, and this makes for a really unique candle holder. So here's another wreath using the pool noodle and hula hoop method. And again, I will link all of the videos below to when I first started doing this. Now I am taking some clearance greenery that I purchased. I'm taking some Dollar Tree pipe cleaners and I'm securing them down using the green ones so that they blend in the best thing to do is after a season is over, buy clearance garland. It ends up being so much cheaper than buying stems, especially from Dollar Tree, especially now that they've raised their prices, and you get a nice full look. These are some Dollar Tree florals, and I'm going to cut them down so that I can get my money's worth. So I'm going to start popping them in to random places, making sure that I'm spacing them evenly so that I can cover this as much as possible. Now, I bought a ton, but in reality, I really didn't use that many. I have a ton left over, and I'm going to use some Dollar Tree pumpkins. Again, the toothpick method is always my favorite because I can reuse these pumpkins over and over and over again without the hot glue mess. And because there is pool noodle at the bottom, it has a place to hold on to. You can also do this with skewers if you want something a little deeper. And I'm adding 2 combinations of pumpkins, so the glitter and the white. I really love how this one turned out, and I get a ton of compliments when I put it out. So that's it for me. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know which one is your favorite, and again, a big thank you to Helix Sleep for sponsoring today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.